G'day guys, welcome back to the lab. COVID-19 lockdown day 4, Sunday. So, if you were on Facebook and you saw our Facebook Live update this morning, you'll know where we're at. If you're not, I'll give you a rundown of where we finished up last night and what we've done this morning, which is stuff all because it is a Sunday. We want to keep the noise down and keep the pace down, keep everyone happy. So, we'll just swap the camera around so you can see what we're doing and I'll get on with it. Last night I talked about that 90-degree fitting that we had up on the top of the intercooler here, the supercharger inlet manifold intercooler, whatever. We had a 90-degree fitting which put the hose up quite high and out into the wilderness here, and it came out in amongst all the fuel pressure regulator and all that. It just didn't, the feng shui was rubbish, you know, it didn't look good at all. So, I suggested I might put that 180-degree fitting on there. It's not a speed flow fitting, I think that might be Aeroflow or something like that, which probably not as good quality or whatever, but hey, that is going to work out pretty well, I reckon. That kind of just comes out of there, tucks down there, runs down virtually unseen and behind the back of the head, and it can come along the chassis rail there. Now, obviously, we've got some brackets and some clamps and all sorts of things to deal with there. Maybe some fire sleeve, heat protection sleeve, because we're, what are we, about 80 millimeters away from the exhaust manifolds there, which will get HPC coated. Ceramic coated later on, but obviously not right now. So that's that. That's pretty much all that's happened so far. And I've decided the top of this Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator, I'm going to pop that off and swap it around 180 degrees so that we get that nipple that's outside there for the pressure that's right in the middle of your screen. I want that on the other side. Be nice and tidy and a lot better. That's assuming we can actually do that. I've got this feeling I've been there before with the March to try and swap that around, and there was some reason why we couldn't. It's not symmetrical inside or something like that. I'm not sure, but we'll see what happens. I'll get into that later on. No rush. Sorry if you can hear music in the background. That's our neighbours. I'm not going to tell them off. They'd be bloody bored, you know, so that's fair enough. They can have the sounds cranking on Sunday. It's all good. Rightio, let's get in with some more progress on something. Make a hose up. Yeah, we can do that actually. I'll take the grill off the front here. I'll get that radiator out of the front. We'll put some fittings on that, and then we can figure out what hoses we're going to need, lengths and stuff. This one here will be nice and simple. Worry about all the complicated stuff later on. This one will just come straight through that fitting down, around along that top of that chassis rail, through the hole in the front here, which you might even be able to see if I get the right angle. That hole right there in the middle of the screen, come out of that, and we go onto this fitting right here. So, could be that I do a little extension on that fitting just there. Might be a little extension, or we might use one of these alternative fittings that probably aren't as good as the Speedflow ones. These ones here, see they've got slightly longer radius, further distance traveled. Actually, that's a dash 10, that one. Let's compare dash 12 to dash 12. There we go. That one's a dash 12 and that one's a dash 12. So I believe that's, yeah, that's Aeroflow. It's got the A on it, and that's Speedflow. So you'll see the distance in, it's clumsy, isn't it? You'll see the difference in length there. That might actually work in our favor to get that onto that radiator without any funkiness. So we've got those. I better put those 2-10s away because they're not going to help us. I'm going to chuck them back on the shelf. I'm not sure what they're doing there. We've got those ones, and we've got all these fittings, and we'll carry on, see where we end up. Alright, so carrying on, what we've ended up with. Speedflow fitting, another Speedflow weld-on fitting, 12-12. If we poke those through that conveniently located hole in the front panel there beside the radiator, not worried about, oh, it's going to fall down. Not worried about angles and stuff at the moment, although I wish it would stay up where it would stay up when I didn't have the camera in my hand. As you can see, that'll work out not too bad. So we need a length of hose pipe, rather. Need a length of pipe that goes to about where that hose used to go onto that fitting. Obviously, it's not a good idea to try and weld that relatively small size pipe onto that relatively large fitting. It won't be good for strength. It won't look nice. It won't be good for flow. There's a whole heap of reasons. Just check, of course, that our radiator is in the middle. I'd say that's in the middle. I'll measure it before I make any pipes. But, so what we need is some way to basically create an extension for that onto there. I'm not worried about the height this way and that way. I'm just going to lift this up a little bit off there. We'll put a piece of foam rubber underneath the bottom of it to try and seal it to make sure the air flows through there. This side's a little bit scabby. It is second hand, although it does have the nice Stillen logo on there, and we know it's not brand new, so a few little marks are okay, and it'll be behind the grill. You can't see it anyway, so I could turn that around so that the back face became the front face and it would look nicer as far as building the car. We're not all that worried about that. So what I'm going to do to attach, sorry if that's making a lot of noise through the microphone, what I'm going to do to attach this onto here is use a piece of pipe. That's really big pipe. Like, for what we're doing, that's oversized and it's ridiculous, but it fits that fitting quite nicely. Oh, I'm trying to drive this while looking through the screen. It's a bad idea. Everything's delayed. Anyway, so a little bit of a tweak and that fits in there really nicely. It'll weld on there really well, and that spreads our load out over a bigger area. So you imagine that pipe is going onto that end tank. It's actually the same width as that end tank, so it'll just give us less chance of a failure. If we had that big hose and big fitting onto the end of this tiny little wee pipe, that's not going to flow very well for a start, and it's loading that up over a very small area. With that bigger pipe, 35mm pipe it might be, I think, just spreads it out over a bigger area. So we'll do that on the bottom there, like I say, and then we'll lift that up so that this center line here is in the center line of this radius at the bottom here, not in the center of the hole. It'll be sitting at the bottom of the hole. And then we'll work on this other side, which will be a similar deal. Similar, not the same. We're not going to go through that hole. We don't have a hole right next to it. It's down at the bottom. I want to put the pump over this side. So I need to look at what's actually going to happen there. It's possible we're going to weld that aluminium fitting. There it is there. It's going to go straight onto there like that. And then the pump is going to be down around in this general area somewhere. I have checked to make sure it does fit. It does fit in there with the grill on there and everything. It'll be all nice and tidy. You won't have an ugly pump in the engine bay, and things will work out, I hope. Right, let's keep going. Pipe all polished up, ready to go. Fitting fits in there perfectly. I freely admit I gave that a little bit of a tweak. So I've just used some cunning technique to make that pipe just a little bit smaller on the end than what it would be normally, so that fits in there snug. Lined it all up on the lathe. It's actually perfectly straight, so now that when I weld that up, if I don't make a hash of it, it's going to look nice. There we go. It's probably pretty good. Not bad. Not the world's most perfect welding. That's okay. That's fine. Now I'm going to chuck it back in the lathe and trim it off, probably about somewhere where my thumb is there. And then we'll cut a hole in the end of that tank and we'll weld that onto there. And that'll be one side almost sorted, I think. That's not terrible. Actually not bad at all, if I do say so myself. Again, I don't claim to be the world's best welder out there, but that's not going to leak. It's on there. Done. Now all I've got to do is make sure it fits in there. Cool, that's pretty good. Haven't bothered putting a fitting on there just yet. Through the magic of magic, that's going to work out. Oh, there we go. That's going to work out just fine with that on there. And like I say, that radiator will get lifted up a little bit and will be a good thing. Oh, Jason, sending me more photos. I'm trying to record something here, buddy. Oh, come on. Oh no, he's found something bad. I better go and see what's happening with that. Help him out if I can. Okay, and oh geez, it's 1:10. It's well past lunchtime, so I'll go and do that and I'll come back. We'll get on with making the mounts and stuff. I'll focus on getting the mounts done so our radiator's in the right spot. that hose made up for the passenger side of the vehicle, and then we'll start looking at the driver's side. Like I say, we've got a pump that goes on there. The pump fittings, where is the pump? Never mind. The pump fittings are actually slightly different size to here, but they're not AN fittings, so we might be able to just put a slightly different nipple on there, hose tail, whatever you want to call it, do a 90-degree silicon bend and have that coming off the pump, and then run the plumbing down the bottom there or something like that. We'll see. We'll suss it out. You guys will see in a minute. Alright. Doesn't look like I've done a lot, does it? That's all nicely welded on there. I've got to double check. I think there might be a little pinhole here. I will pressure test it when it's all done. That fitting ended up being relatively well located. I think we might be off to that side, maybe 3 mils or something, 2 millimeters, but it'll be fine. It's not going to be an issue. It's not actually connecting with anything there, so that's great. I chopped off the, let's show you. They're on the bench. Chopped off the original Stillen mounts that were there. I was very close to just welding that bracket onto the front of it, and I was like, what are you doing? You've got time. Just get rid of them, make it look nicer. So they're chopped off. Haven't polished this yet. Will do. Thinking I might try and do something with this while I've got time. Tidy up those fins and everything. Maybe even repaint it. Try and make a Stillen stencil to replicate what was there. Polish the end tanks. Paint the core silver. Try and make it look brand new. Won't take much effort, you know. It'll make a big difference when we're taking photos and all that sort of carry on. Until the grill goes on, you can't see it. So, riv nut into the panel steel there, which is actually, I think that's 2 mil. Off the top of my head, it's quite thick. Or it might be 1.6, I don't recall. But it's pretty thick anyway. It's not like 1.2 or anything. So, that's that. It's relatively rigid. Probably a bit risky leaving it, even though that's like 2.5 mil thick aluminium extrusion at the bottom. It's probably a bit risky leaving it hanging off just that on each side. There's quite a bit of weight there. If the car's got vibrations and whatnot, it'll fatigue eventually and break off. So I'll make a little bracket that'll come onto here. We'll drill a hole through here. We'll put a bracket that comes up and then comes down and has a riv nut on there. So that'll just tie that in, stop that backwards and forwards movement there. That's basically it. I haven't done the hose in there just yet. If you look through that hole right there, I've actually got 2 hoses in there. Just so happens that they're about the right length. A lot of dogs barking out there. If they were straights and we were short of hose and we were trying to get this going in a hurry, we could just put a union in there. That would actually be fine. But we're not short of hose and we're not in a rush, so that's not going to happen. Tomorrow I'm going to get on with this side. As I explained before, there's a pump to go in there and we need to tank up the top. So I'll get on with that. Right, hope you guys are having fun. It's she's going to be a long haul. We're only, what are we, 3 days, 4 days? I can't even remember. We're not very far into it. That actually looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Bit rat roddy. All right, cheers guys.